Good morning, everyone. Thanks very much, John. It's my privilege and pleasure to welcome you all to the 70th Annual Conference for Rotary District 1010. And as per tradition, I declare the conference open. A special welcome to those of you who are new to Rotary and may be joining us at a district conference for the first time. I hope you find today educational, exciting, entertaining and most importantly inspiring. At the start of the planning for my year as District Governor, before the pandemic began, I was very clear about what my theme for this year was going to be. Rotary at the heart of communities. Yep, Rotary at the heart of communities. I wanted to see clubs being even more active than they already were in their own communities. Some of the towns, villages and cities which we live in desperately need the expertise and the help of Rotary and its members to help the most vulnerable and in need. I wanted to see every club with a project which addressed a fundamental need in their communities. That could be health, poverty, education, or the local economy. Projects which will make a real difference to people's lives. And also I wanted to see our clubs being active in showing the public what we've achieved and what we continue to achieve, not only at home, but all over the world. I was told many years ago that Rotarians do good by stealth. Well, it was time to stop that and begin to shout out about the work that we do and that we need help in the form of new members to continue to do that. Well, that was all planned out nicely in my head. And then we had the small inconvenience of a global health crisis. And I'll admit for the first 2 or 3 months, I didn't think it would make any difference to my year. A few weeks of lockdown to flatten the curve, we were told, and we'd be back to normal. How naive was I? So it's made for a strange year, but incredibly, without my input and driven only by the pandemic, clubs have risen almost completely to the challenges I'd set out. Almost every club in your district has been deeply involved in helping the people in their own communities. Almost every club has worked to address a fundamental need in their communities, feeding the vulnerable and the elderly, providing clothing for children, donating laptops so that kids can continue their education from home, and much, much more. Clubs have donated the money they would have spent on their own meals to help finance these many projects at home and also abroad. Maybe the only area we haven't quite achieved has been the effective publicising of this and the recruiting of some new members. And anyway, that's stage 2 for next year. You'll be hearing more from me about that. The clubs in this district should also be very proud of the donations which were made to the disaster which occurred in Beirut. After an urgent appeal, we were able to send over $30,000 to Beirut Cedars Rotary Club, which was used for a number of humanitarian projects, including medicines and food for the many people who had been made homeless. And despite having our many fundraising activities curtailed or even cancelled, clubs have adapted and come up with many new ways to raise the funds so urgently needed, not only locally, but to continue our fight against polio and to contribute to the Rotary Foundation and to support the numerous international projects which we're proud to sponsor. One of the most pleasing aspects of the year has been to see how well clubs have adapted to meeting via Zoom and also running many traditionally face-to-face events using the platform too. I've been lucky to take part in a number of online quizzes, bingo nights and even a wine tasting, but one of the highlights had to be my first virtual Burns Supper. What a fantastic night. Great entertainment and a fitting tribute as well to the late Mike Gillis who organised the event. I've heard a number of stories from different clubs where attendance at meetings has actually increased online. So I hope most clubs will take my advice to retain an online element to their meeting patterns and their programmes in the future. So thanks to all of the 1010 Rotarians and their clubs for showing the desire, flexibility, imagination and sometimes stubbornness to make this year the success it has been under very trying circumstances. I know clubs will be keen to explode into the new Rotary year with a renewed passion and commitment to continue the fantastic work we all do. And I'm looking forward to an exciting and rewarding year ahead. Now on to today's programme. And Zoom has given us the opportunity to have a varied and international group of speakers for our conference. Today, we'll hear from Kailo Mathika, all the way from Kenya, about his work as head of the African Sand Dams Foundation and the difference it makes to the communities in that area. From Australia, we have the inspirational Mark Huddleston, who's spoken all over the world about membership. And Mark will give us his take on the current membership crisis and some of the things we can do to address the situation. We also have a recorded message from Jennifer Jones, who in 2022-23 will become the new Rotary International President and the first woman ever to be elected to that position. Closer to home, we've decided to use some of our conference budget to help one of the local charities. Soon you'll hear from Christy about 4 charities in 4 minutes, where you'll get the chance to decide which organisation most deserves our donation. And we're also going to hear from President Clive Murray from the Rotary Club of Dundee about the Century of Service celebrations for the 100th anniversary of their charter. Our foundation charity and End Polio are the 2 main elements of Rotary International, and no conference would be complete without hearing more about those. The promotion of peace is the first of our areas of focus and a major beneficiary of foundation funding. Our district peace scholar is Homaira Karimavahed, and she'll be on later to introduce herself and let us know more about her background. We're also going to have a talk on living with polio from ex-journalist Rob Kennedy MBE of the Rotary Club of Stonehaven, which I'm sure will be fascinating. Rota Kids is an area in which our district can be very proud. And later today, we'll hear from Alistair Risk and the teachers and pupils of the East Sutherland Rota Kids about just why your club should consider starting a Rota Kids club in your area, plus a wee musical bonus from the Rota Kids too. And this afternoon, we're also delighted to have internationally renowned biologist, Professor Hugh Pennington. Over the last year, the Professor has appeared on many TV and radio news and current affairs programmes, and he will join us to give us his unique insight into the current pandemic. We also have a few musical items in today's programme. And this afternoon, we'll open the show with talented multi-instrumentalist Jennifer Port, who's recorded a couple of songs for us. Later in the afternoon, we have a final piece brought to us by the Granite City Choir. But first, we're going to open the conference with the perfect musical start to a perfect day. Please welcome the Rotary Club of Leithen.
Just a perfect day, drink sangria in the park, and then later when it gets dark, we'll go home. Just a perfect day, feed animals in the zoo. Then later, a movie too, and then home. Oh, it's such a perfect day. I'm glad I spent it with you. Oh, such a perfect day. You just keep me hanging on. You just keep me hanging on. Just a perfect day. From much fun. Just a perfect day. You made me forget myself. I thought I was someone else. Someone good. Oh, it's such a perfect day. I'm glad I spent it with you. Oh, such a perfect day. You just keep me hanging on. You just keep me hanging on. You're gonna reap just what you sow. 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 Oh, what a perfect day. That's all. You actually didn't need that bit of paper.
Thank you very much for a brilliant start to the day there. Please put your hands together. Thank the Rotary Club of Leven for that great introduction. Thank you all very much. Yeah, next up, we have 4 charities in 4 minutes. And to explain a wee bit more about that, I'd like to pass you over to my daughter, Christy, who's going to introduce it for us. Over to you, Christy.
Thank you very much. So good morning, everyone. I'm absolutely delighted to introduce this new section for this year's conference, which is 4 charities in 4 minutes. As the focus this year was on the theme of the conference, which is Rotary at the Heart of Communities, we wanted to do something to give back to a charity in one of our local communities that have continued throughout this pandemic without the funding and the opportunities that they would have had in normal circumstances. So as you know, we ask you all to nominate a charity of your choice from your local community to receive £1,000 from conference. And I'll tell you, we were absolutely overwhelmed with the amount that were nominated to us. Very, very worthwhile charity. So thank you so much for doing that. Unfortunately, as you know, we could only pick 4 of them. And after a random generated pick from the charities, I'm now delighted to introduce the 4 charities and the 4 club representatives for today. So after each of them have pitched for a maximum of 1 minute, and I will be timing it, so I will let you know when you get to the end of your minute if you're going to run over. We will open a Zoom poll and everyone will get the chance to vote for who they think should receive that £1,000. Don't worry, the poll result will not be given straight after the poll has closed. So don't worry that you're not getting to know. We're just going to do it a wee bit later, just before the morning session closes. So without further ado, first up, excuse me, first up we have Jeff Sampson from the Rotary Club of Glenrothes, and they are pitching for Love Oliver. So over to you, Jeff.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'd like to thank Alistair and his team for guiding us through this difficult year, and hope Heathers will be getting us back to a bit of normality. My chosen charity is Love Oliver. At just a few days old, Andy and Jennifer Gill's first son, Oliver, was diagnosed with an exceedingly rare and aggressive form of cancer, a malignant rhabdoid tumour. But despite continuing to thrive and smile his way through intensive chemotherapy, he passed away peacefully at home on Christmas Day 2010, aged just 24 weeks old. In 2011, Andy and Jennifer started the children's cancer charity Love Oliver, and are committed to the aims of the charity and to keeping Oliver's smile and story alive. They are dedicated to improving the quality of life for children and their families in Scotland diagnosed with cancer through provision of appropriate financial and practical support, along with the development of new treatments through research, where every family with a child diagnosed and their cancer journey knows there is a hope of a cure. Love Oliver is committed to raising awareness of childhood cancer and its impact on families, to encourage volunteering and fundraising, to be able to help them and to bring about a brighter future for childhood cancer treatment.
Right, that's your minute, Jeff. Perfect, thank you so much for that, Jeff. Next up, we have Alan Perry from the Rotary Club of Aberdeen St Macher, and they are pitching for Charlie House.
Okay, thanks, Claire. Right, here we go. Charlie House is a charity providing much needed support to families throughout Grampian, Orkney and Shetland who have children with life-limiting conditions, complex disabilities and are likely to die at a very young age. Their medical journeys are complex, requiring 24-hour care, medication, medical procedures, multiple equipment including specialised wheelchairs and more, just to keep them alive. The services provided by Charlie House help to improve the family's mental health, well-being and resilience, and helps them maintain positive relationships along with enhancing their quality of life. If successful, £1,000 would help facilitate summer activities for the children and their families, including a beach trip with the aid of beach buggies, a private trip to the cinema and an exciting dolphin searching boat trip. If this pitch is successful, I'm sure the children would say thank you if they could. Thanks.
Perfect, thank you so much for that, Alan. So next up, we now have Alana Brown from the Rotary Club Buckhaven and Methil, and they're pitching for Buckhaven and Methil Miners Brass Band. So over to you, Alana.
Okay, thank you. So my chosen charity is Buckhaven and Methil Miners Brass Band. They are a community organisation who, although originally made their name competing over Scotland, now have more of a presence serving their community. They provide opportunities for key musicians in the area, an outlet for people who are socially isolated, and local entertainment for others in the community, both for free and to raise money for external charities. They provide excellent opportunities for both adults and children who want the chance to learn to play a musical instrument but might not have the money to do so. They provide instruments, music and tuition free of charge. This allows people to meet other like-minded people and be able to work together to create something beautiful while learning a new skill. The band are the heart of the community in Buckhaven and Methil, and they spend a lot of their time helping other charities in the area. They do this by holding events, mainly concerts, and in order to do this successfully, we need to have a band who have the correct training and ability. If we were to win this funding, we would be able to purchase more instruments, allowing more opportunities for more people. During the pandemic, the restrictions have made it near impossible to meet or have rehearsals.
That's a minute, Alana.
No problem.
Thank you. Thanks, Alana. And to finish us off, we have Ellen Smith from the Rotary Club of Aberdeen Deeside, and they're pitching for Instant Neighbour.
Right. Instant Neighbour Aberdeen, and their slogan is "Help us make a poverty-free Aberdeen." Instant Neighbour work out of one of the most disadvantaged areas in the city, giving practical help, support and advice to the poorest and the most vulnerable. Last year, they handed out 10,000 bags of food and basic requirements to 2,500 different clients. And of those, at least 20% had at least one child in the family. Their giving tree at Christmas handed out 13,500 gifts. Their furniture store recycles and reuses donated furniture. Some get sold for to boost their profits, but 67 individuals facing homelessness also were helped with furnishings. £1,000 would help restock Instant Neighbour supplies, because as restrictions have eased, the donations have gone down.
Thank you
But
for
the
that,
need is still
Ellen.
there.
That's your minute. Thank you so much to everyone who just took part there. I'm sorry if I was a bit brutal cutting you off at the minute, but we just wanted to make sure it was fair across the board. I'm now going to ask Ken to open the Zoom poll so we can all vote on what charity we believe should receive the £1,000, and I'll pass you back to our District Governor, Alistair. Thank you.
Keith, thanks very much for that, Christy. Excellent, and 4 very, very worthwhile charities. Ken, are you ready to run the poll?
So we currently have 90 of 120 voting, so there's still 30 to come. Alistair, back to you. I've ended the polling.
Okay, thank you very much, Ken. We'll find out later this morning who the winner of the 4 charities in 4 minutes is going to be.